All right. Welcome, guys, to another episode of Brand Builder TV, where we want to share with you and teach you and bring the people on that's going to differentiate the difference between branding and marketing in 2020 versus 2004. If you're stuck in 2004, if you're stuck there long enough, you're going to actually disappear. And there's a big difference in the evolution in the last 8, 10, 15 years. And if you're not jumping on that evolution train, it's going to run you over. So I'm excited for this episode because we happen to be in the same niche, the same area of business. And I'm excited when I introduce you to Erica, because we're going to dive deep in the power and the importance of your personal brand and really what it means in 2020 and forward, and how powerful your personal brand is in today's world if you understand how to truly leverage it. So that being said, we are going to give the microphone over to Erica Benvenuto.
Benvenuto, yes.
Benvenuto. I gave an East Coast little shift to it. So and I'm allowed to do that since your dad's family's from Brooklyn, right? So
there you go.
I get a pass. I get a pass.
You do.
But Erica, I was reading over your some of your stuff and your profile on LinkedIn, social media marketing, personal branding, networking maniac, and recruiting is my jam. So I definitely want to go deeper on that. I love personally, I just love the verbiage that you use, right? Because that's such a big part of personal branding and doing it in your flavor. And like I say, rising above the noise in your industry so you can elevate your position. So I'm excited just from that profile. I'm excited to go deep into that. So, the stage is yours. Give us that little 30,000 foot view, right? Who you are,
Sure.
Where you came from, where you're at today, where you see yourself going. We're going to chunk that down as always.
All right. Yeah, for sure. And first, thank you. Yeah. So definitely with you 100%. I started really going heavy on video content, specifically with LinkedIn, a couple of months ago. And so after watching some other people that were really successful on the platform, it started hitting me that I wasn't really utilizing it in the right way up until a few months ago. And so I did spend a long time building my network.
Mm-hmm.
So I connected with a lot of people in my industry, and not just within my industry, but also people that, were an influence to myself. I have a lot of connections that I'm influenced by as well. And so I kind of watched what a lot of other people were doing. And then I just decided that I'm just going to start doing it myself. And so it's the first couple of times that you put out a video, it's not so comfortable. And a lot of people will tell me, that they don't like video. They don't know where to start. They don't know what. I always will encourage people just to do it. Once you start doing it, you start becoming a lot more comfortable with it. And when it comes to what kind of content you're going to be putting out there, it's, in my opinion, it needs to be something that other people can benefit from, not so much talking about yourself really as much as it is talking about what other people can relate to. And so for me personally, I'm a recruiter. That's my job. So I started putting out some content about recruiting, kind of just like, first it was like the basics of recruiting, maybe some of the stuff that worked for me, kind of some basics on cold calling. And then, just kind of went along from there. And I was really surprised at the immediate interaction that I was getting from the video content that I was sharing. And, if you use LinkedIn actively, you can see the insights when you go onto your profile. And I mean, my profile views within just a couple of hours after I put my first video out shot up tremendously. And so I went from having just, maybe a little bit over 5,000 connections, I think it was in June, to I currently have almost, I think 14 or 15,000 on there. And, it's just, like I said, I think that LinkedIn is the best platform right now for putting video content out. It's a little bit saturated on Facebook and Instagram. So that's what I'm using the most is the LinkedIn platform. And it really changed my business completely once I started using it. I went from always being the person that was reaching out to candidates, cold calling, or even if it was warm candidate, following up, hot candidates, keeping them on track to try to get them over to join me at the company that I'm at, where it really turned into, I had people reaching out to me. I had people that were interested in moving. And so because they had seen some of the content that I put out, they felt like I was somewhat of an expert in my field, I guess. And so I cannot encourage people more to do exactly what you said. Brand yourself. Don't brand your company. I did that for a long time. There's nothing wrong with every now and then putting out some content that's going to support the company that you're working for, but you really want the big picture to be about your own personal branding, because then no matter where you go, no matter what company you're at, it's going to stay relevant.
100%, man. There's so much there that we can chunk down because we're so much on the same page. It's amazing because of knowing, where you're at, the landscape you're in for your business. And absolutely, listen, I 1000% agree with you that LinkedIn, if it has your audience, is the platform to start to really get into. And to go a little bit deeper on the first thing you talked about is the videos, right? And like you said, a lot of people are afraid to just turn that video on. And here's what I want you have to understand is not only do you just turn it on and you do it, but you will relate to so many more people when you screw up, when they know it's your first time, and it takes the pressure off of you. I had a mobile show for 2 years, 2016, 17. It's on YouTube, Monster Motivator TV. And one of my first episodes, and we would do it either mobile, like come to you to your office, or you come to my studio, right? So I'm at a real estate office. I'm literally got the camera. We're going live, Facebook Live, and it falls right off the shelf. And people love that episode, right? Because it's so real. It's so real, and people put so much pressure on themselves to be this perfect actor, and that's the last thing you want to do in 2020 is you want that real, raw, and live, so people can get that. You can just connect. And the other thing that you talked about that's so huge is your personal brand in today's world. Should always trump your business brand. Let the business brand follow, because people want to hear your story, right? They want to know. And I love that you share content and you've seen so much growth. And I'm such a big believer that a big part of what I teach and share is how to weave your stories with your content, right? Create that heartfelt story, then weave in the content, and then end it with that heartfelt story, and you can't go wrong. So, one of the things I want you to go deeper on is what we've been talking about, is the difference between 2004 and 2020. I just used 2004 as an example, right? Because we've seen so much evolution. Can you touch on that? Because I believe, here's my definition. 2004, it's what you knew and who you knew. But 2020, it's what you know, who you know, but who knows you.
Right. Oh, 100%. I agree with you 100% on that. You know what? It's true. I think that, first of all, 2004 seems like a lifetime ago, right? Just the technology that's available now. As even just down to something as small as, the kinds of phones that we have. The quality of a video that we're able to do right now, I'm using my iPhone. I don't know what you're using.
Yeah, but it's so true.
You never be able to do that in the past, so it's just, I think that kind of what you said before, if you're stuck in that 2004 mindset or anywhere around there, you're going to get left behind so quickly, because technology is not stopping ever. And so all of the software that we have that goes along with it, if you're not constantly educating yourself on what's available and what's working and what's not working, and like you said, being vulnerable and allowing people to see that you're just another normal human being. I'm not any different from anybody else that's afraid to put video content out there. The difference is I've just started doing it. And so after you see what works, everything sort of just falls into place. I mean, trust me, I've put some videos out there before that I didn't get a lot of traction on. And I noticed that the ones that don't seem to do as well are when I'm not being as genuine as I like to be. Like you said, like, it's okay to make mistakes. I've even, in some of the videos that I've edited, I threw some bloopers in at the end, because that's what people, they really do like to see. When I'm watching a movie and there's bloopers at the end of it, I'm going to watch until the end of all the bloopers are showing. It's a way that you feel like you relate to it, that they're just another person just like you. And then about what you said about kind of allowing people to know you on a personal level, mixing that with your the professional person that you are. Everybody gets to wherever they're at because of what happens in their personal life. So whether they're a huge success or they're a huge failure, lots of their, everything that happens in their personal life plays into that. And they're the person that they are because of that. So I do like to allow my network to get to know me on a personal level as well as a professional level. I've been through some things in my life that I feel that have really made me the person that I am professionally. I consider myself to have some pretty thick skin, and I attribute that to not having the easiest childhood. And when I was younger, I used to, that really used to bother me. I used to feel jealous of some other kids that, had it easy or whatever you say about it. But now that I'm older, now that I'm an adult, I have my own kids, I appreciate everything that I learned from not having the easiest upbringing. And I don't think that I would be the same person that I am without it. And so your perspective on things, just, it continues to change. And so just allowing people to see who you are and how you became that way, I think that it makes people remember you more.
You definitely rise above the noise, right? Because it is your story, it's your flavor. And I'm such a big believer and advocate of your vulnerability becomes your credibility, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the bottom line. Your when I get in, I just did a 2-day event here in San Diego, North County, San Diego last week, a CEO Woman Summit. And when I say to the MC or the event planner that introduces me on stage, right? It's Dave DALEY, the Monster Motivator, built and sold 3 companies in 3 different industries, but also crashed one to the ground. And I've had event planners skip over that because they feel bad. I go, no. You got to make sure that you highlight that. That's part of my story, right? That window of time that I crashed that business into the ground. There's not a university in this world that could have taught me what I learned. Now I can share that with others, right? And I always say that, wear those scars with pride, because you were bad enough to make it through. Now it's your obligation to share that, because what you just shared about your childhood, right? There's plenty of people that want to and need to hear that, because they're either going through it, they've been through it themselves. Now they connect with you on such a different level. So I love it. I love that. And I'd love for you to share some of the videos and some of the things you've learned by trial and error, right, with the videos on LinkedIn, and give us some hacks. Like, what are some of the things that you want to stay away from, and then some of the things you might want to run with?
All right. Well, I'll always, in my opinion, there's not too much that I would say stay away from. I'll say stay away from politics and religion. That's all I'll say to stay away from, right? But anything else, it's, everyone writes their own story. So you're never going to please everybody on the internet. It's just never going to happen, okay? You're always going to have some people that aren't a fan of you, that don't like you for whatever reason. Maybe they don't agree with your views. Maybe they're jealous. Who knows what it is? But as long as you stay true to yourself, I think that that's what the most important thing is. And I'll give you an example of something that happened to me in some of the earlier videos that I put out. There was a video that I put out, and I was wearing a tank top. And for whatever reason, this woman did not like that I was wearing a tank top on a video on LinkedIn. I have tattoos or whatever it is. She didn't like it. And so she started saying some really nasty things. And at first I kind of snapped back, my instant reaction. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let this lady, she's obviously not a happy woman. I'm just going to let her say what she's going to say. I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not even going to delete her comments. And then what ended up happening is people in my network started coming to my defense. They started replying to this woman that's trolling me and leaving these nasty comments. And she's telling me, you shouldn't be here on LinkedIn. And so then people that are in my network are telling her, like, how can you say this or whatnot? Anyways, so my point is that you're always going to have some people that are not going to be a fan of you. So I wouldn't focus too much on what not to share on LinkedIn. It's really what you're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. If you feel that there's going to be a value add, share it. If there's something that you feel is going to be a value, there's going to be somebody else out there that's also going to find a value in it. You don't have to please the majority of people, but if it's something that's important to you and something that resonates with you, it's going to resonate with someone else as well. So I don't think you should be afraid of sharing anything, really.
I love it.
That's my opinion.
I love it. And I'm glad that you actually went there. I wanted to give you the opportunity, but I again, 1000% agree. It's that realness. And like you had mentioned earlier, some of the videos that you thought were going to get more traction might have been overproduced. When you look back at them, they just weren't as real, right? And as raw as you had before. That created, and that, look, at the end of the day, your audience is they're going to tell you, right? Either it connects with them or it doesn't.
Right.
So that's interesting too. That happens.
When you talk about that, you're right. I did put a couple of videos out that were produced, that were edited, and one of them did pretty well. But then some of it, it's true. It didn't get as much traction as I want. And I think that it turns into kind of what I say the same thing about when there's videos that are company videos, or, they might be marketing videos from a company. I think that it starts to look like a commercial in your feed when you're scrolling through, whatever social media platform you're on. To be 100% honest, when I see people's posts that are just, like, the stats of whatever their company is closed and that month, or maybe it's a review of, oh, this person said this about me and gave me 5 stars. I mean, okay, cool. We all have that, right? So it's not something that you really find interesting. But then when you come across a like you said, a raw video of someone being 100% their natural selves, you watch it and it's more interesting, and you never know what's going to happen. You never know if there's going to be those bloopers, or if there's going to be mistakes in the video that are not edited out. And I think that sometimes is the most entertaining part of it.
I agree 100%. Now also helping you rise above the noise, but also making it so memorable, right? Is what I believe is when you have a successful brand, especially in the personal branding end of it, is when other people are telling your story, when other people are actually sharing your story. One of my last guests I had on Monster Motivator TV back in 2017 was Tom Bilyeu from Quest Bars, right? Built a Quest protein bars. In 8 years, him and his partners built $1 billion brand. It was an evaluation of $1.7 billion in 2017. But when he shares his personal story with it, that's what I share with people. I constantly share his personal story versus, the Quest bars is just an edification, right? Of what he's done. But I get right into the personal story, because that's the power. That's why people are going to the movie theaters, right? They want those stories that they can leave with, and make no mistake, when you can learn how to weave your story with your content. And then, so what I do is I share and I teach. I have a 90-day brand builder boot camp, right? And part of this is 4 pillars, right? It's your story, your heartfelt story that relates to whatever you're talking about, your content, so teaching, then and then your another heartfelt story or an open-end loop, and then social proof. So like for like I work with realtors and mortgage commission salespeople, right? So that's social proof. And so many people get caught up in, they think social proof, they think it has to be their client. It doesn't have to be. It can be your story, right? Your social proof, or tied in, like some of you, I'm sure you have awesome social proof with some of your clients, but then also with you, because you recruit for companies, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. You recruit for companies, and then you place people. You place executives or salespeople. Is that? You want to give us a
Right.
little
Correct.
overview of what you do and what you provide?
Sure. I don't recruit for multiple companies. Currently I am. I just actually made a move to a new company a couple months ago to New American Funding. So I recruit loan originators, branch managers, salespeople within the industry, and so mostly it'll be loan originators or teams of loan originators that
Okay.
I'm trying to look forward to bring over to the company.
How do you like? It sounds like you're going deep on that niche.
Well, definitely. So it's, even though I'm at a new company, it's the same network of the same network that I'm looking for. And really it's mostly about building relationships. It's not something that happens after one phone call. It's something that happens after sometimes months and sometimes years of building relationships with people so that they trust you. The video content definitely helps in that way because there's lots of people that do what I do, not only just recruiters, but branch managers, regional managers, anybody that's looking to grow their team within the mortgage industry. We're all recruiting. And so right now it's actually specifically a really very competitive time for people that recruit because, rates, the business is doing so well right now. Rates are down, production is up. When people have full pipelines, they don't want to make things uncomfortable. They don't want to mess with their program. Anytime you make a move, it is going to affect your business. So it's a tough time because especially since no one's moving around, it brings the recruiters out even more because they're not working so much on the candidates that are in process of coming over as much as they normally are. Now moving into the winter months, it's statistically a better time for when people will start to actually look at other options and things like that. But you've got to stay on top of mind because like I said, there's so many people recruiting. If you're just one of the hundreds of phone calls that they're getting, there's no way that you're going to stand out to them more than anybody else. But when you have that video content, when you're in front of them, they're going to see you, whether they're liking your video or not, whether they're commenting or not, that they're going to see it. And so, it's funny because I went to an event in San Diego about a month and a half ago, and I saw people there that I had never met before in real life. I had just known from LinkedIn, or that, to be honest with you, I don't even necessarily know them. They knew me. So it can be really one-sided. If I'm the only one that's putting out video content and then we run into each other in an event, oh, look, it's they don't even say Erica from New American Funding. They'll say, oh, it's Erica from LinkedIn,
Yeah.
So they'll say like, oh, I saw the video that's just posted or whatever it might be. And trust me, I appreciate it. I love when people tell me that they see my content or that they liked it or that they found some sort of value in it, because then I feel like, okay, I'm doing something right. I'm on the right track. But I would like to be able to say, oh, hey, I saw your video content as well. And so I'll try to share that with people a lot, that it does make a huge difference. And sometimes I feel that people struggle with what their real story is, with who they are, how to brand themselves, because they don't know where to start, or sometimes people don't think that there's really anything that stands out that's any different, but there is. That it's just like what you said, it's who you are personally. It's not necessarily who you are professionally. Because yes, there's tons of people that do the same thing that I do, but they're not the same person as me. And so my personal brand is what sets me apart. And so that's what I try to, you know, have people understand when they talk to me or ask me for my advice on, you know, how to utilize different social media platforms.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the things you said, a word you used that I constantly use is trust, right? And I believe that brand loyalty is king because it maps to trust. And it's so cool that people refer to you as Erica from LinkedIn, right? That separates you right there. It does, right? It's so I was in a speakers meeting. Excuse me, there was 12 speakers at this event that I spoke at last week, and a few of them were out of state, so they did a Zoom, right? They came in on Zoom, and one of the ladies that speaks, she speaks on getting through grief and how to get through grief and things like that. So the one speaker on Zoom and Kathy, who was next to me, Catherine, they said hi to each other, and they're trying to they knew they met each other, but they couldn't place it. Long story short, she's like, I'm Catherine so and so, and the girl on Zoom, the other speaker's looking, and she's like, oh, she goes, oh, the grief lady, yeah, the grief lady. So that, right, that's branding.
That's your brand.
That's absolutely branding. And again, Erica from LinkedIn, that's still branding. And I want people to understand that, right? Dave Daly, the Monster Motivator. It's branding, and that's what's going to, separate. And if people aren't, like you said, a lot of people are afraid to share their story, or they don't think that it's really relevant or it's important or people want to listen, but they can't be any more wrong on that. And I think a lot of people use that too as an excuse not to be able to share their story because they're so terrified of what other people think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think that some people disagree with how we're talking about, sharing content that adds value, that helps people. So for example, when I say that, I mean, when I share in my videos some tips on recruiting, I've had people ask me, why do you want to help other recruiters recruit better? Isn't that your competition? Well, definitely is my competition. But the thing is that behind the scenes, what's happening is, the people that we're all looking to recruit, they are now going to see, they're going to understand that you do know what you're doing, that you are, knowledgeable and whatever it is that you do. It can be the same thing for loan originators, for example. Some of the most successful loan originators are the ones that do coaching and that share their sales tactics and what works for them and what doesn't work for them. And same thing, some people will say, why do you want to share that information on how you've become a top producer? Because then everybody else is going to be able to go out to your same realtors, the same referral partners, and use the same tactics that you use. But the difference is that when you're sharing that with good video content, and you're sharing how you've been able to be so successful, well, now, as a loan originator, if you're sharing that, now realtors are going to reach out to you because they know that you're knowledgeable. They know that you're going to be able to structure a loan because they see you showing other people how to structure a loan.
Well,
so
100%. And now you're really getting into really more for me, and which I love is my oxygen, is the personal development, right? Is the mindset. And it's really coming from an abundance mindset versus a lack and limitation mindset versus a fear-based mindset. And that's energy, right? That's put out there. And I would much rather do business with somebody that has that confidence about them, knows what they're talking about, because now that makes me feel comfortable, because most people that you deal with, that's not their world. This is not their wheelhouse. This is yours, right? So
right.
I want somebody that has the confidence. And also, I'm such a big believer, instead of competing, when you come at that mindset of creating instead of competing, things open up, opportunities, people and circumstances come into your life that you never thought in a million years would be possible. So and
Absolutely.
it elevates you, right, as that professional to go to, because I'm going to remember that. And I remember Erica was talking about, and I also believe that your clients, your customers aren't looking at it that way. They're just taking in that information. They're not saying, well, man, I wonder what our competitors are doing, right? They're just,
Right.
now I just want to learn from you, right?
Right.
And that's brand loyalty, right? That's branding 101, because I'm coming back to you, right? Erica, what about this and what about that? So 1000% coming from that abundance mindset. I love it. I love that. I love that energy. Is there anything that you're seeing in the future that pertaining to branding and maybe even pertaining to your industry that that you want to share?
Gosh, I mean, pertaining to branding, I definitely see that there's more and more people that I'm connected with, specifically on LinkedIn again, that are getting a little bit more comfortable and starting to create their own brand. And I really like to see that happen with people. And specifically, I get excited because sometimes I'll wake up in the morning, I'll check my LinkedIn notifications, and now there's even people that I've never met before in my life that are creating video content, and then they're tagging me in their videos. And I don't know, I think maybe just because they've seen my videos and maybe it's inspired them to make some videos or whatever it is. But I think it's really cool how so many people within that platform, we've all kind of formed into being this one big group of people that really all supports each other. There's a lot of people on LinkedIn, and I mean, they'll know who I'm talking about when they see this, that when any of us will post any sort of video content, we all will go and support one another. Well, even it doesn't matter if we're competitors or whatever it is, we go on there, we're liking each other's videos, we're commenting on each other's videos. And it's like this unspoken agreement that we have, that it's like, okay, we're all going to be there to support each other. We're all going to have each other's back because we all see that this is working together. Right. And so I think that there's a lot more power in groups of people than there is as individuals. And I am definitely seeing a lot more of that on social media recently. A couple of years ago, I think that, and I don't know if you would agree with me, but I definitely saw a lot more people, and it's sad, but I would see people that would just leave really, comments on people's posts, and even if it's just a picture, if it's a video, if it's just whatever they wanted to share on their status. And it's like sometimes people will forget if that these are all actual human beings. Just because you might have a big following doesn't mean that you're just immune to what people say and that you don't have any feelings. And so people will leave their opinion, and if it's a negative opinion, I mean, you do what you want to do. But to me, I'm like, why go out of your way to try to make someone feel bad? What good is that doing? Who is that making yourself feel better? But I am definitely seeing less and less of that as the years have gone by, where now it does seem like it's more of a support system than anything.
For me, I actually feel bad for the people that do that, because what a sad existence.
Yeah.
That's the way I look
sure.
at it. I do. I feel bad. Just like, I'm a big animal advocate, and especially dogs. And I always say, I feel bad for people that don't feel that connection. It just, I love animals and dogs. So same thing. When I see that, I usually leave it up and then just move on because it's just I can't even imagine that that's somebody's life, right? That's
Right.
somebody's world doing that. And then also on the flip side, that person that is getting those comments, it's still a win, right? You're still rising above the noise, right? And that also means to me that you are probably keeping it real, right? Because,
Yeah.
Again, there's plenty of people that are going to look at me. They're not liking the bald head. They're not liking the tattoos. They're not liking the accent. They're not liking, I'm talking too much with my hands. That's who I am, right? I mean, they would kill me. They would lynch me in Toastmasters if they saw me on stage. but that's who I am at my core. And so, yeah, I love that. Anything else that I didn't talk about that you want to share that I might have missed?
I just, in addition to that, I would just say, to anyone that is trying to create more of a brand for themselves, stay consistent. You just got to keep doing what you do, and every time you do it, you'll get a little bit more traction, until you'll see after a while that a few small steps end up being some really good progress. So I would just say consistency, stay true to yourself, and just don't be afraid. Once you just do it, it becomes easier and easier. So
I love it. Do you actually have a system? Like, do you do certain amount of videos per week, or do you just when you feel it, when you feel the urge?
No, I don't have any sort of system.
Okay.
One of my flaws will definitely be organization. That's something that I always try to improve on. I'm glad that you invited me to join you on your podcast, because it has been like maybe a couple of weeks since I put a video out. And so I'm like, this is good. This is just what I needed. I need a little bit of a refresher. Sometimes everybody needs a push sometimes,
Yeah.
But to answer your question, no, I don't have a system. I just kind of put things out as I go. Sometimes something will come to me and I'll just make a video right then and there wherever I'm at. I don't necessarily have to be sitting down with my light on or anything like that. Sometimes, maybe you've seen, I'll be coming out of the gym and sometimes I'll make a video just because it's, right then I thought about something and I don't want to forget it. So it doesn't have to be anything professional. You really can. I mean, at any time we could take out our phones, we can record something and you can post it, and it doesn't need any editing. Raw footage is really good.
They are going to be the best. I promise they are going to be the best ones, because it's just about the energy. It's the realness. Oh, she works out. She goes to the gym. Oh, I get it. Oh, yeah. So love it. I love it. And I know you're very busy, so I want to thank you for taking the time and jumping on here. And I'm really glad that we connected. I'm looking forward to staying connected. And yeah, if you're down in the San Diego area, reach out, and vice versa, because I'm up in the LA area all the time. But yeah,
awesome.
So anything I could do, don't hesitate to reach out. And again, guys, thank you so much. If you're getting value from these videos, if you're getting value from these episodes, please share it. We want to get that real raw content out there that's going to help so many people. So feel free to share it. And always, it's 2020, not 2004. Know where you are and move forward accordingly. And guys, thanks so much.